on my mom having, let me go with food and water for 2 full days. Like, in additional lead to it being abuse, I would call it neglect, because, I just want people to see that these things are documented, because I feel like I'm not taken seriously on my childhood trauma, and people just think it's like me as a hard child, with autism, and they just were stressed or whatever. And I want people to see, and my parents have had a history of, saying they're not abusive and whatnot and hiding it, so it makes me really desperate. But I just want to point this out, like letting your child go 2 full days without drinking water or eating food. Like, after the first day, my mom should have like taken me to an ER to have me put with IV fluids. That's child neglect, because I was 15 years old when I was 14 or 15. I want to say I was 15 when I had that breakdown. I was 14 or 15, and that's very traumatic shit, like how your body feels, when you don't have that water, when you don't have that food, it makes you more mentally unstable. And once again, I was refusing that food based on how she had been putting Lexapro in my food. It made me have the worst headache of my life, to where I thought I was dying. Imagine me, I had no idea what was causing that headache. I thought I was dying and having a brain aneurysm or something, a rupture. It was very traumatic. And it made me, like, as I had been on the Lexapro, like, that, like, 2-ish months, like, my ability to write poems had dwindled, and it was horrifying to me, because it made me feel like I was losing my identity and my worth. It was the only thing that it had going for me, that I, had a good image of myself in, and that others appreciated and valued in me, and saw me as like unique and talented, so it was very, very hard for me. But just really fucking think about it, like the child abuse, like one episode of it is directly documented in my regional center report, my mom admitting that. I feel like it's gone under people's radars, but you need to really think about it. Letting your child go 2 full days without drinking or eating water, that's extremely fucking dangerous. And even like my mom putting the Lexapro in my food, that's already very harmful, because how it works is you cannot get a stable dose. I learned from people in this program that I'm in now that even though I was a minor when she did that, it's actually a felony crime for what she did, because it could kill you. You can't get a stable dose when you have that, like, and another thing that I would say is you could get seizures from it, from like the instability of it. A lot of teenagers will just experiment with alcohol with their peers, not me, because I didn't have any friends, which I guess my mom probably figured. But imagine that, I had been introduced to alcohol, or I was desperate for, some teen to treat me well, and I did it, to try to get a friend. And I was too introverted for that, but like imagine, and then you have serotonin syndrome, or you have an adverse lethal reaction. It's very dangerous what my mother did with that alone, and letting me go 2 fucking full days without drinking anything or eating anything, and not taking me to the hospital and letting that happen, not taking me to get food somewhere I feel like I could eat it without being medicated. That's child abuse and neglect.